Atlanta's nightlife. It's just buzzing with energy. Music is thumping, neon lights are flickering, and you've got crowds weaving through the city's heart long after midnight. For many, it's a place of celebration and escape. But for one rising star, a night out would mark the end of a promising journey. Cameron Olivia Price was known for her talent and ambition. She was a young hairstylist whose skills had already, caught the attention of celebrities. At just 21, she was really building a name for herself, and her dreams stretched far beyond her hometown of Chester, South Carolina. Friends described her as magnetic, someone who could just light up a room and make anyone feel at home in her chair. Real quick before we start, drop your city in the comments, tell me what time it is there and what the weather's like. Also, let me know which case you'd want to see next and why I should look into it. And hey, while you're at it, go ahead and hit subscribe, why not? Alright, let's not waste time, let's go. So, on a spring night, Cameron traveled to Atlanta with her boyfriend, eager to enjoy the city's vibrant scene. They spent hours at Magic City, which is a club famous for its music and atmosphere. Laughter, music, and the promise of new memories filled the air as they left the club in the early hours, completely unaware that danger was waiting just outside. As their car rolled down Pryor Street, another vehicle pulled up alongside them, and in an instant, the night's excitement just turned to chaos. Gunshots shattered the calm, targeting the passenger side where Cameron sat. Her boyfriend, who was injured by flying glass, managed to drive away, desperate to find help. But for Cameron...
And they noticed the car pulled up so close on the side, which was on Cameron's side, the passenger side, and they just started shooting.
The wounds were devastating. The news of her death spread quickly, leaving her family and community in just complete disbelief. I mean, how could a life so full of hope be ended so suddenly? Was this just a random act, or was there some kind of reason behind the violence? It makes you wonder if you've ever heard of a tragedy like this in your own city.
Her brains hanging out of her head. My God, that is a hard pill to swallow.
We're going to try and uncover the story behind Cameron Price's final night in Atlanta. Long before Atlanta's city lights ever beckoned, Cameron Olivia Price's story began in the small town of Chester, South Carolina. In a family of 5 siblings, she was the middle child, not the oldest, not the youngest, but the one who often brought everyone together. Her parents, Creighton and Jesse, remember her as the heartbeat of their home, a daughter whose laughter could lift even the heaviest day. They've said they decided to do something in her honor and her memory, just to continue her legacy.
Sister was here. She really focused on being a mentor to other cosmetology students and also helping them excel in their careers. So it feels good that us as a foundation and as board members, we get to kind of give that same thing back to the community.
Growing up, Cameron's world was shaped by strong family ties in a community that really looked out for its own. Her parents worked hard to provide for their children, teaching them the value of loyalty, kindness, and ambition. And Cameron...
Our daughter was all about, making people feel good, putting smiles on people's faces, making them feel beautiful on the inside as well as the outside. Unfortunately, of course, her life got cut short, but...
Well, she took those lessons to heart, carrying them with her as she started to find her own path. From an early age, she was drawn to beauty and hairstyling. What started as just braiding her sister's hair in the living room soon became a passion that really set her apart. By her teenage years, Cameron was already known around Chester for her skill with a comb and a pair of scissors. Friends and neighbors would come to her for a fresh look, trusting her not just for her talent, but for the warmth she brought to every conversation. Her reputation grew, and it grew quickly. Cameron's chair became this place where people felt seen and heard, where stories were shared and confidence was restored. She wasn't just a hairstylist, she was a confidant, a friend, and a source of inspiration for so many in her community. Her ability to connect with people, to make them feel special. It was a gift that truly set her apart. But Cameron's ambitions didn't stop at being the best in Chester. She dreamed of opening her own Salona place where she could build something lasting for herself and her family. She spoke often with her father about her plans, seeking his advice and support. In fact, just days before her life was cut short, she had shared her vision with him. All these hopes for a business that would not only showcase her talent, but also create opportunities for others. Her drive was matched by her work ethic. Cameron was known for putting in long hours, never cutting corners, and always striving to improve her craft. She took so much pride in every client who left her chair feeling transformed. Her social media pages were filled with photos of her work, testimonials from grateful clients, and glimpses of the joy she found in her art. Family remained at the center of everything she did. As the middle child, Cameron often played the role of peacemaker, helping her siblings navigate life's ups and downs. She was especially close to her parents, who supported her dreams and celebrated her successes. Their home was just filled with laughter, shared meals, and the kind of love that made even the toughest days feel bearable. Cameron's story was one of rising potential, a young woman who was determined to turn her passion into a legacy. She was building a future not just for herself, but for the people she loved. Her journey from Chester's living rooms to Atlanta's nightlife was really a testament to her courage and her ambition. In every sense, Cameron was on the verge of something greater. Her life was a reminder that dreams can take root in the most unexpected places, and that with enough determination, even a small-town girl can make a name for herself. But, as her family and friends would soon learn, even the brightest futures can be threatened in an instant. Her story, so full of hope and promise, would soon take a very different turn. No one could have predicted it. Early in April of 2023, Cameron made the trip from South Carolina down to Atlanta. It was more than just a change of scenery for her. It was a chance to experience a different world, a city known for its vibrant culture and that bustling nightlife. She traveled with her boyfriend, just looking forward to a weekend of fun and new experiences. Atlanta held a certain allure for Cameron. It was a place where dreams seemed within reach, where creativity thrived, and where she could explore new possibilities for her career. She envisioned maybe connecting with other stylists, learning new techniques, and perhaps even finding some inspiration for her own salon. The night of the 3rd of April, it began with excitement. Cameron and her boyfriend decided to visit Magic City, a really well-known establishment in southwest Atlanta. The club was a sensory overload music pulsating through the air, lights flashing everywhere, and crowds of people moving to the rhythm. For a while, they just lost themselves in the energy of the place, enjoying the music and the whole atmosphere. As the hours passed, the night started to wear on. Eventually, they decided it was time to leave. They walked out of the club and into the cool night air, making their way to their car. Cameron settled into the passenger seat, ready for the ride back to where they were staying. They pulled onto Pryor Street, heading away from the club. The streets were quieter now, the late-night revelry beginning to wind down. Little did they know they were being watched. Another vehicle appeared, pulling up right alongside them. It positioned itself close to the passenger side, right where Cameron was sitting. The occupants of the other car remained hidden, their intentions unknown. And then, suddenly, without any warning, the night just erupted in violence. Gunshots rang out, piercing the silence. The attack was focused and brutal, targeting Cameron's side of the car. Bullets shattered the glass, and the air filled with smoke and chaos. Cameron was struck in the head. Her boyfriend, though he was injured by flying glass, reacted quickly. He hit the accelerator and sped away from the scene. He drove frantically, just trying to escape the danger and find help. He managed to reach I-75 North, taking the Memorial Drive exit in a desperate attempt to get to a hospital. Every second felt like an eternity as he raced against time, just praying that Cameron would survive. The car screeched to a halt outside Grady Memorial Hospital. Medical personnel rushed to their aid, pulling Cameron from the vehicle and racing her inside. But the damage was done. The injuries she sustained were just too severe. Shortly after arriving at the hospital, Cameron Olivia Price was pronounced dead. The news sent shockwaves through the city, marking the end of a promising life and the beginning of a search for answers. The night that began with so much excitement and anticipation had ended in tragedy, leaving a community in mourning and a family searching for justice. The question now was, who would do such a thing, and why? The news of Cameron's death spread like wildfire. First, it reached her family back in Chester, South Carolina, and then it just rippled outward through her community and social media. The initial reaction was disbelief or refusal to accept that someone so full of life could be gone so suddenly. For Creighton and Jesse Price, Cameron's parents, the loss was unimaginable. That phone call they received in the early hours of the morning, it shattered their world. The image of their daughter lying in a hospital bed, her dreams extinguished, haunted their every waking moment. In an interview, his voice just filled with anguish. Creighton Price said that she didn't deserve to die like she did, that no one deserves to die like that. The senselessness of the violence just compounded their grief. I mean, how could anyone target their daughter, a young woman who had brought so much joy to those around her? Jesse Price struggled to make sense of it all. He said he really wants them to catch the person, or people, whoever was involved, just to know why. He questioned if the attack was even meant for her. He explained that there was just no way his daughter had a problem with anybody that would cause them to want to shoot and kill her. The family's grief was shared by the entire Chester community. Friends, clients, and neighbors flooded social media with messages of remembrance, sharing stories of Cameron's kindness, her ambition, and her infectious spirit. Her social media pages became a virtual memorial filled with photos, memories, and expressions of love and loss. The outpouring of support was a testament to the impact Cameron had made. She was remembered not just for her talent as a hairstylist, but for her ability to connect with people on a personal level. She just had a way of making everyone feel special, of seeing the best in them, and inspiring them to pursue their own dreams. Family and friends gathered on a Saturday to remember the life of 21-year-old Cameron Olivia Price. She had a big impact in the Chester community and other surrounding areas, so it was good to see some of her old clients, friends, family members, people from church, just everyone. Last April, Cameron was shot and killed in Atlanta. Now, her family has put together a way for everyone to remember her. Her parents explained that their daughter was all about making people feel good, putting smiles on their faces, and making them feel beautiful on the inside as well as the outside. But her life got cut short, so they decided to do something in her honor and her memory to continue her legacy. For that legacy, her family has started the Cameron Olivia Foundation. Cameron's family says that even though she was only 21, she was contributing so much to the community. So now, the foundation is a way to keep that going. Her sister mentioned that when she was here, she really focused on being a mentor to other cosmetology students, and also on helping them excel in their careers. So, it feels good that the foundation will provide scholarships and grants to help others start on their journey. And because Cameron was a young stylist in the community, her family says some of the funding from the foundation will also go towards making students in need feel beautiful for prom, just like Cameron used to do. It really feels like she was just getting started. She was only 21 years old. But at the same time, it feels like she accomplished so much. And so that's kind of what the foundation is for, to carry on her name and continue the legacy of Cameron Olivia. But beneath all the grief, there was also this growing sense of outrage. The community demanded answers, calling for justice and accountability. You know, how could such a violent act happen? And what could be done to prevent similar tragedies in the future? The family's search for justice became a rallying point for the whole community. Local leaders, activists, and concerned citizens all joined together to demand action from law enforcement. They organized vigils, protests, and community meetings, raising awareness about the case and putting pressure on the authorities to find the person responsible. Cameron's funeral was a testament to her life and the impact she had on so many. Family, friends, and clients gathered to say their final goodbyes, sharing stories of her kindness, her ambition, and her unwavering spirit. The service was filled with tears, but also with a sense of hope, a determination to honor her memory by working towards a safer and more just world. In the months that followed her death, Cameron's family established the Cameron Olivia Price Foundation. The foundation's mission was to honor her memory by advocating for safer communities, supporting victims of violence, and providing opportunities for young people to pursue their dreams. It was a way for them to turn their grief into action to ensure that Cameron's legacy would live on. It really makes you think about what message of support you would send to Cameron's family and friends. In the wake of Cameron Price's death, the Atlanta Police Department launched a full-scale investigation. The pressure to find the person responsible was immense, fueled by the family's grief and the community's outrage. But the initial stages of the investigation, well, they proved challenging. The crime scene on Pryor Street offered very few immediate clues. The shooting had happened so quickly, and witnesses were scarce. The only solid piece of information they had was the description of the vehicle that had pulled up alongside Cameron's car. Detectives began canvassing the area, searching for any security cameras that might have captured the incident. They interviewed potential witnesses, hoping to piece together a timeline of events. But progress was slow. The lack of immediate leads was frustrating for the family and the community. Rumors and speculation started swirling, just adding to the sense of unease. Some wondered if Cameron had been the intended target, while others speculated that maybe it was a case of mistaken identity. As the weeks turned into months, the investigation continued. Detectives followed up on every single lead, no matter how small. They analyzed forensic evidence, reviewed phone records, and interviewed dozens of people, but the case remained unsolved. And then, more than 7 months after the shooting, a breakthrough. Detectives identified a suspect, Zachary Eccles, a 22-year-old with a history of criminal activity. Eccles was actually already in custody, incarcerated for violating his probation on some unrelated charges. A deeper look into Eccles' background revealed a pattern of criminal behavior, including previous convictions for financial crimes. And while this didn't directly connect him to Cameron's murder, it did paint a picture of someone with a disregard for the law. The evidence linking Eccles to the shooting was circumstantial, but it was compelling. Detectives were able to place him in the vicinity of the crime scene on the night of the murder. They also uncovered information suggesting that he may have had a motive for targeting Cameron or someone associated with her. Based on the evidence, authorities charged Zachary Eccles with murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The arrest brought a measure of relief to Cameron's family and the community, but it also raised new questions. Who was Zachary Eccles, and why would he target Cameron Price? Was this a planned attack or a random act of violence? And what was the motive behind the shooting? The investigation was far from over. The search for answers continued, driven by the determination to bring justice to Cameron and her loved ones. The arrest was just one step in a long and difficult process. The arrest of Zachary Eccles brought a sense of progress to the Cameron Price case, but it didn't provide all the answers. One of the most pressing questions still remained. Why? What was the motive behind the shooting? Detectives explored several possibilities. Was Cameron the intended target? Had she just been caught in the crossfire of a dispute between other people? Or was this a random act of violence, just a senseless tragedy with no clear explanation? The investigation revealed no direct connection between Cameron and Eccles. They didn't appear to have known each other, and there was no evidence of any prior conflict. This led to speculation that Cameron may have been mistaken for someone else, or that the shooting was related to her boyfriend, or someone else she was with that night. Another theory centered on the possibility of a robbery gone wrong, that maybe Eccles and his accomplices had intended to rob Cameron and her boyfriend, and the shooting happened during the attempt. However, there was no evidence to support this. Nothing was taken from them, and the focus of the attack seemed to be solely on Cameron. As the case moved forward, the lack of a clear motive frustrated her family and the community. They struggled to understand how someone could commit such a violent act without a clear reason. The uncertainty just added to their grief, making it even more difficult to find peace. Her father, Jesse Price, said in an interview he just wants to know why. What could his daughter have done to make someone want to take her life? That question echoed in the hearts of everyone who knew and loved Cameron. The legal proceedings against Eccles offered some hope for closure, but they also brought new challenges. The trial promised to be a long and difficult process, filled with legal complexities and emotional turmoil. For Cameron's family, the trial was a chance to finally get answers and see justice served. But it was also a reminder of their loss, a constant reliving of the events that had taken their daughter's life. Even if Eccles was convicted, the question of motive might never be fully answered. Some secrets, I suppose, remain hidden, known only to those who carried them out. The search for closure is a long and winding road, one that often leads to more questions than answers. For Cameron's family, the journey is far from over. They continue to seek understanding, to honor her memory, and to work towards a world where tragedies like this are less common. It makes you wonder what really happened here. Cameron Olivia Price's story is more than just a true crime case. It's a stark reminder of the devastating impact of violence on individuals, on families, and on whole communities. Her death is a single data point in a much larger crisis, a crisis that demands our attention and action. Gun violence is a pervasive problem in American society, claiming thousands of lives each year. It affects people of all ages, races, and socioeconomic backgrounds. But, some communities are disproportionately affected, particularly those with limited resources and high levels of poverty. The impact of gun violence, it extends far beyond the immediate victims. Families are torn apart, communities are traumatized, and that sense of safety and security is just shattered. The ripple effect can be felt for generations, as children grow up in environments where violence is normalized and opportunities are limited. Cameron's death is such a tragic example of the loss of potential that results from gun violence. She was a talented and ambitious young woman with a bright future ahead of her. Her dreams of opening her own salon, of building a better life for herself and her family, they were all cut short by a senseless act of violence. Her story really highlights the importance of addressing the root causes of violence. I mean, things like poverty, inequality, lack of access to education and job opportunities, and the spread of illegal firearms. Preventing gun violence requires a lot of different things. It involves community engagement, law enforcement, mental health services, and responsible gun ownership. It also requires a willingness to have those difficult conversations about race, class, and the role of violence in our society. We have to invest in programs that support at-risk youth, provide access to mental health care, and promote conflict resolution skills. We also have to work to reduce the availability of illegal firearms and hold people accountable when they use them to commit violence. But perhaps most importantly, we have to change the culture of violence that seems to run through our society. This means challenging the glorification of violence in media and entertainment, promoting empathy and understanding, and teaching our children the value of respect and nonviolence. Cameron's legacy can be a catalyst for change. By sharing her story, we can raise awareness about the impact of gun violence and maybe inspire others to take action. We can support organizations that are working to prevent violence, advocate for sensible gun laws, and promote peace in our own communities. It makes you think, what steps can we all take to make our communities safer and prevent tragedies like this from happening again? Cameron Olivia Price's life was defined by ambition, love, and a commitment to uplifting those around her. She was a talented hairstylist, a devoted daughter, and a cherished friend. Her untimely death left a void in her family and her community, but her legacy endures through the memories of those she touched. The Cameron Olivia Price Foundation stands as a testament to her enduring spirit. Established by her family, the foundation works to honor her memory by advocating for safer communities, supporting victims of violence, and providing opportunities for young people to pursue their dreams. It's a beacon of hope in the face of tragedy, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, we can find the strength to make a difference. Cameron's story is a call to action. It's a reminder that behind every headline is a person, a family, and a community that has been forever changed. We have to remember the victims of violence not just as statistics, but as individuals with dreams, hopes, and loved ones who mourn their loss. Let's honor Cameron's memory by working towards a more peaceful and just world. Let's support efforts to prevent violence, to heal communities, and to create a future where every young person has the opportunity to live a life free from fear. Cameron's light may have been extinguished too soon, but her legacy will continue to shine brightly, inspiring all of us to build a better tomorrow. So, here we are, at the end of Cameron's story, or what feels like the end of a chapter, at least. An arrest has been made, and the slow, heavy gears of the justice system have begun to turn. For her family, I have to imagine it's a confusing and exhausting mix of emotions. There's a measure of relief, of course, a feeling that there is finally a name and a face attached to their pain. It's a step toward accountability, and that's so important. But it doesn't bring her back. It doesn't undo the shattering act of that night. And it almost certainly doesn't answer the deepest, most agonizing question of all. The simple, haunting question of why? Why her? Why that night, which started with so much joy and promise? The trial may eventually bring more facts to light, more details about the sequence of events, but some questions, the ones that truly matter to a grieving heart, they might just hang in the air forever. That's one of the hardest realities to accept in cases like this. Justice, as we see it in a courtroom, is about facts and evidence and laws. It's a necessary process, but it can't heal a soul. It can't fill the empty space at the family dinner table. For Creighton and Jesse Price, and for every person who knew and loved Cameron, their journey of grief continues, long after the news cycle moves on and the public's attention fades. Their lives are now permanently marked by a before and an after, and finding a way to navigate that after is a quiet, daily struggle that headlines never capture. And I suppose if there's a moral to be drawn from this deeply tragic story, it's something about the terrible, breathtaking fragility of it all. One moment, you are living your life, completely absorbed in your world, filled with plans, dreams, music, laughter. A young woman like Cameron, so vibrant and ambitious, literally building a legacy with her own two hands. One client, one conversation, one boost of confidence at a time. And in the very next moment, all of that light, all of that incredible potential can be extinguished by a senseless act of violence that seems to have had nothing at all to do with her. It's a chilling, sobering reminder that the worlds we so carefully construct, our careers, our relationships, our visions for the future, are so very precious, and in a way so very delicate. But the moral here isn't to live in fear. I really don't believe that's the lesson. In fact, when you look at how her family responded by creating something so positive, a foundation that actively helps others find their own path, well, maybe the moral is the exact opposite of fear. Maybe it's about how fiercely we must protect and nurture the good things in this world. It's about tending to the creative sparks, the ambitions, the connections between us, precisely because there is darkness and chaos that exists alongside it. It's about the profound responsibility we have to honor the light, both in ourselves and in others, while it's here. Cameron's family refused to let the darkness have the final word. They answered a destructive act with a creative one, and that, in itself, is a powerful moral for all of us. So what do we do with a story like this? What advice can one even offer in the face of such a loss? It's not simple, and there are no easy answers. But I think first and foremost, it comes back to awareness. And I don't just mean being aware of your surroundings in a fearful way, but being truly meaningfully aware of the people who make up your community. It's about checking in on your friends and neighbors. It's about creating a culture where people feel seen and supported. When someone in your orbit is hurting, you don't have to have the perfect words or the solutions, but just showing up like the community of Chester did for Cameron's family, that can be a powerful antidote to the profound isolation that grief brings. It's weaving a web of connection that is stronger than the forces that seek to tear us apart. And if you are ever faced with an unthinkable tragedy in your own life, look to the Price family as an example. They took an unimaginable pain and channeled it into purpose. They refused to let Cameron's story end on Pryor Street. They made sure her legacy would be about mentorship, beauty, and opportunity. That is perhaps the most profound advice of all. Honor memory with action. Find a way, no matter how small, to carry forward the spirit of the person you lost. It doesn't erase the pain, not at all, but it can transform it into something that creates light and opportunity for others. It's a way of ensuring that their positive energy continues to ripple out into the world. Finally, on a deeply personal level, the advice is simply to be present. The story of Cameron's last night began with such ordinary joy, a trip, a night out, the simple act of driving in a car with someone you care about. This story reminds us not to take those simple, happy, mundane moments for granted. The shared laughter, the music on the radio, the quiet comfort of companionship, those are not just the moments in between the big events. They are the big events. They are the very substance of a life. Cherish them. Be mindful of them. And let's all try to be the kind of people who add to the world's light. Let's build communities where creativity, ambition, and kindness, the very qualities Cameron embodied, can flourish in safety. That is how we can truly honor her memory. It's a quiet, daily commitment to building the kind of world she deserved to live in. It's important to keep the conversation going and to inspire each other to take action. Sharing stories like this helps spread awareness about these important issues. By paying attention to these true crime investigations, we can help make sure these stories and the people in them are never forgotten.